Hello, this is Ujjwal and welcome to another YouTube tutorial on my channel. Today I'm doing a series of cards using 6 different ways or mediums with stencils. These stencils were sent to me by Khyati from CraftAdda. These are manufactured in India and it is her brand called CraftAngles, and they are beautiful stamps with some unique designs like this one that is called Monuments, and I will be using the Taj Mahal. Then you have the Damsek, basic Damsek I think, and this one is called Honeycomb, and you can see it better now. So it has a delicate pattern. Then this one is I think Moroccan pattern, and then this one is called Dots. It's all grungy and pretty, and this one is a floral pattern. So I will be using all 6 of these with different mediums to give you an idea of how well you can use stencils. So the first one is using stencils with distress inks. Now this is the most common and most easy one. To start with, what you want to do is you want to secure your paper. I'm using washi tape, and then I'm going to secure my stencil as well, because when we are blending the ink we don't want the stencil or the paper to be moving around. And I will be listing down all the supplies in the description box below, so don't forget to check that out. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking some sponge daubers and just simply applying ink on the paper. This paper takes distress inks really well, so I don't have to do a lot of effort in blending them. So I started with mustard seed on the top, then I applied pickled raspberry, and now I'm using seedless preserves, and my last color will be salty ocean. As I'm going downwards, as I'm going moving on with the color, I'm blending a little bit, overlapping the color a little bit with the previous color, but not too much. So you can see that I have this absolutely gorgeous background in minutes. And I had a small area left off in the corner because of the washi tape, so I just went in with the sponge dauber and filled it in, and that's it. That's how simple it was to create. The next thing you can use with stencils, next medium, is called oil pastels. Now I love using oil pastels. They are super easy to color with and super fun. So for this one I'm using some Canson watercolor paper, and I'll be using the portfolio set of 12 water soluble oil pastels and some baby wipes. So to start with, I'm going to lay down a layer of blue on the paper so that I have a little bit of background. So now to smudge, you can use your fingers, but it doesn't blend that well with fingers, so I'm using a wet baby wipe. Since these colors are water soluble, it will really blend very easily and well with baby wipes. You do have to apply a bit of pressure, and you can just go in with circular motions and go in as much as you like the blending to be. This does make the pastels lose their color pigment. The color becomes really subtle when you use baby wipes, so you can go in again and keep building the layers as much as you like to. And then now I'm going to position the stencil onto the paper, and then go in with a pink and a yellow. So I'm starting with a pink. I'm just very randomly, just like crayons, I'm just putting the color pigment within the stencil, making sure that it stays inside the stencil, and also you need to make sure that the stencil doesn't move. So you could secure it with some washi tape if you wanted to, but for me it just worked out fine. I was just holding it with my hand the whole time. And then again I went with the wet wipe to mix and blend those colors in. Now make sure when you're using a wipe to use a clean side of the wipe, or use a separate wipe for separate color, because these colors do get into each other. If you are going to use the baby wipe that's already been used for another color, the colors will get contaminated. So now I'm just building a little ground for the Taj Mahal with a black color, and then I went back in. I thought the colors were really settled and I wanted them to be bright, so I went in with the oil pastels, and this time I'm blending with my finger so that the vibrancy of the colors is preserved and it is not diluted when I use the wet, just like when I use the wet wipes. Now I'm going to add a little more background with a darker blue, and again smudge it with my fingers. Now if you feel that, again make sure your fingers are clean, they do not have the pink or the yellow on them, otherwise it will all come in the background. So make sure you're using clean fingers, or else you can use something called as paper stumps. These are basically paper mache sticks, and I'll just show that to you in a little while. So I'm adding some more color, and I just wanted to show you that you can use these paper sticks. They come in a pack. I got them from Amazon, and what you can do is just in circular motions you can go over the oil pastels with them, and they will blend the oil pastels without actually ruining the vibrancy of them, so the colors will remain vibrant. Again, make sure you use a clean tip each time you are moving to a different color to make sure that the colors don't become muddy and they don't contaminate each other. So you can see that it blends that oil pastel while still maintaining the vibrancy of the color. And here is the card that I made with it. Moving on to the third one, which is using stencils with glitter. Now I'm not a big fan of glitter. I don't like it because it goes everywhere, but I do like the end results that you get when you use glitter, so I decided to give it a try. What I'm doing here is I have some double-sided adhesive tape, and I will cover the piece of cardstock with it, and then I'm going to burnish it in and make sure it's stuck really well to the cardstock. And then we are going to peel off the backing and place our stencil on top of it. Now I'm going to take the glitter. I'm using some super fine blue glitter here, and I'm going to pour it over the top of the stencil so that it'll go inside all that adhesive, and it'll catch all that adhesive, or rather the adhesive will catch all that glitter and it'll stick to the adhesive underneath. And I'm now going to burnish it in with my fingers and make sure it's really stuck well together, and then we'll tap off the excess, and I'm going to brush off the remaining excess of the stencil using a dry brush, and then carefully remove the stencil, and you can see that I have the pattern forming. So the areas, the adhesive areas which were left, I went back in and poured some white glitter on top of it, and now I'm using a scrap sheet of paper and really pushing that glitter into the paper so that it's stuck really well. And there you go, a fun, sparkly and glittery card, and I had so much fun making it because I don't make cards with glitter so often. Next is using watercolors with stencils. Now again I'm using Ken Oliver's Color Burst here, but you could use any form of watercolors for this. You could use your regular traditional watercolors, or you could use your color mists. Those will work just as well. So I'm going to take some. Now these Color Burst, these are actually pigmented, these are actually watercolor pigments. They are in dry form, so you cannot see much at the moment, but once I spray water on it, you will be able to see how vibrant and beautiful these colors are. So you can see a little goes a long way. I just had a few speckles of color on there, and they've become so vibrant and so pretty right now. So I'm just spraying water and making sure some goes inside the stencil, and since I had a lot of color on the top of stencil, I didn't want it to go to waste, so I took a watercolor paper and I just put it on top of the stencil so that I get this watercolor background. Now I'm going to take off the stencil very carefully, and you'll see that we have that stencil pattern which dried out to this beautiful looking background. Next is embossing with the stencils. So now again you want to secure your paper and your stencil really well onto the surface so that it doesn't move when we are inking it. And now I'm taking some Versamark ink and I stamped on top of the stencil. I did not cover the whole background, I just covered it in parts. And now I'm using some zinc embossing powders. I have 3 colors: butter, rose and leaf color, and I am just using random areas and pouring in these different colors onto the paper. And now I'm going to go ahead and heat set it with my heat gun. And that is it. So simple, so pretty, and I absolutely love this floral pattern. It's a very shabby chic. The colors that I chose also turned it into a very soft, nice palette, so it turned out to be really pretty. The last medium that I'm using is texture paste. Again, this is a super fun one, and this is what we mostly use on our mixed media projects and canvases, but I'll be using it for a card. So I have some texture paste from Camlin, and I have 2 acrylic colors. I have one is aqua green or aqua blue, I think, and one is permanent yellow. I will be listing down these colors in the supply list in the description box below, so don't forget to check that out. And now we are just going to mix those acrylic colors with texture paste. So I have this beautiful soft color, and I am again going to take my stencil and I'm using a palette knife to apply the texture paste through the stencil, and you can see that I have that lovely dots pattern on the paper. And that is it. So you could also use embossing paste if you have those, and I just wanted to go through all the cards once before I leave. So I have this one with oil pastels where I just kept it very simple, added a twine. The sentiment is from paper tray ink. This one is, the sentiment is heat embossed with the butter embossing powder, and the sentiment is from paper smooches, and I just added some circle punch outs. This one is, the butterflies are from Mudra. They are white heat embossed on vellum, and the sentiment is clear heat embossed. The sentiment is from paper smooches, and I also added a little bit of gold wire underneath. The stamps, again, the flowers here are from Mudra, from the Gerbera Blooms stem set, and I added some mulberry leaves and some gold thread underneath it. This one, again, the sentiment is from paper smooches, and I added a little strip of glitter on top again to finish up this card and keep it really simple. This one, the flowers are again from paper smooches best bud set. The flower as well as the sentiment, I just watercolored them and put it all together. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I gave you some ideas to try when you are working with stencils. So don't forget to watch my previous video and subscribe, like and comment below on what you want to see, and did you like this video, and I will see you again next time. Bye bye.